Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.32. Now in this Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is helping us to understand the different Niyamas and what they all stand for. In the previous sutras, we looked at the 5 yamas, and finally in this one, we're going to look at the 5 Niyamas. So let's take a good look at the sutra and start understanding it a little bit better. Showcha Santosha Tapas Ishwar Pranithanani Niyamaha. Alright, so that is the Sutra 2.32. Now we're going to go step by step, looking at each of the words and trying to understand what they're saying. So the first word in this case is Showcha. Showcha refers to cleanliness, and in most cases it's referring to a physical cleanliness or the excretions process of the body. The next one is Santosha, which refers to contentment or feeling a sense of content. The third one is Tapas. Tapas is something we studied in Sutra 2.1, where we learned that these are austerities or certain disciplines that we inculcate. The next one is Svadhyay, and Svadhyay refers to self-study, studying a particular external chapter, the same one, or studying your own self and your own life. And the last one is Ishwar Pranithan, which refers to a surrender to the divine power or the higher power. Now, the last section says, it's like a basic word called ani, which is saying, it's a compound word saying the plural ending and combining all these words together. And the final word, of course, is niyamaha, which refers to the niyamas. Now, let's take a good look at what is the explanation of the sutra and what does it stand for. So the sutra is telling us that there are 5 different niyamas, and just like the yamas, they should be followed as often and as regularly as possible. But unlike the yamas, these are more personal. They're more about your self-discipline or activities that you conduct on your own. And also, according to the present commentator, these are activities that usually we would do in a physical way. They're kind of like habit formation, or kind of like particular things that we do throughout the day to make sure that we stay disciplined and we maintain the niyamas throughout the day. So let's take a look at the 5 niyamas now and understand them better. If you'd like a much more detailed explanation, we've made another video on just the niyamas, and you can kind of watch that too. But let's try and understand it with a good overview in this video. So we're looking at the first word, which is Showcha, and this refers to cleanliness, of course. Now, there are 2 forms of cleanliness. We're talking about mental as well as physical. Now, mental cleanliness, of course, also relates to taking care of yourself. Having clarity of thought is a form of cleanliness. Knowing what you want to do, being very clear on certain things. And that, of course, is in the mental plane. And through the practices of yoga, we can actually get there. But also what the commentator is emphasizing is in this particular sutra, Showcha also refers to physical cleanliness. Because if we don't keep ourselves physically clean, either through Hatha yogic practices such as Neti Kriyas, Basti, Dhauti, etc., or if we don't do certain Ayurvedic practices, what we're doing is, it's kind of like not brushing your teeth. You know how brushing your teeth has become like, we don't even need to think. We get up, we're in the bathroom, the first thing we're doing is we're brushing our teeth. It's become routine and habit. And so what they're trying to say is certain cleansing practices in yoga need to become almost habitual. It's just like a no-brainer. And I think some of the Neti Kriyas especially are fantastic in that way, like Jala Neti and Sutra Neti, because so good for you. They clean your nasal passages, but unfortunately we're not as exposed to these practices as yet, and I hope that changes. But essentially that's what Showcha is talking about, that we really want to be clean physically as well, as much as we can, and that includes, of course, taking a bath, bathing, doing whatever you need to, especially if you're an athlete or somebody that sweats a lot. So this is, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I think sometimes we need to put in these things so we know them as rules of the practice. So that is our Showcha, and on a physical as well as mental level. And then we come to the next one, which is Santosha. Now, Santosha over here is quite a mental attitude. Because if you really want to feel content, it happens from the inside. But we can look at it as a niyama in the sense that when we're really, really content, like genuinely feeling happy with where we are, working to progressing, but still happy with where we are, we behave in a certain way. I think when we are hankering after things, our attitude changes, our vibe changes. But when we're really satisfied inside, I think it shows. And it kind of shows up in the decisions we make, in the kind of behavior we display towards other people. So in this sutra, Muni Patanjali is saying that yes, we need to be mentally satisfied, but we also need to have a very physical satisfaction as well, so that we can really display that and make people feel good around us through the satisfaction that we feel. So that is Santosha. And the third one over here is Tapas, fourth is Svadhyay, and fifth is Ishwar Pranithan. I'm just going to go over them briefly because all three of these are called Kriya Yoga together. So if you look at it visually, yes, there are 5 niyamas, but the last 3, Tapas, Svadhyay, Ishwar Pranithan, these form Kriya Yoga as well. And this is something we studied in Sutra 2.1. So you can also watch that video to understand these 3 better. But what it means is tapas is really daily practice, daily. No matter how you feel, there are days when you get up and you come to your yoga mat and you just can't, it's heavy, you're not able to get through it. But something inside you, that discipline kicks in a little bit and you go through the motions, maybe slowly, but you go through it anyway. And I think tapas is that kind of discipline, that austerity, that knowing that you need to work towards something and you do it every single day, no matter what. So that is a form of tapas. Svadhyay refers to really self-study through scriptures or through your own journaling, through your own understanding of yourself. The most important thing is making a routine out of it. So kind of either doing a little bit of the same chapter every day or setting aside some time for you to journal every day. Whatever it is, something to work on yourself, study your life, become, really cognizant of what's going on with you, what's happening, and how you can deal with that. And then the 5th one is Ishwar Pranithan, which is surrender to the divine. And this is an important thing to remember, because it doesn't matter which faith we belong to, but sometimes we go through the motions, right? We just turn up at the temple, the mosque, the church, whatever, wherever we're going, and we just do it out of habit. But it's important also to really feel that emotion of surrender, to feel like we really want to do this, like sometimes we go to a temple and we just put our head down, but how much of that emotion are we really feeling? So Ishwar Pranithan is a very emotive practice. It depends on the power of devotion. And I think it's beautiful, something that we can all cultivate and work towards in our own way, in our own faith, and in our own practice. So that is Ishwar Pranithan. And that kind of brings us to the end of the 5 niyamas. Now, the important thing to remember here is that we just go step by step. We're not saying that, yes, now you know the niyamas, you have to go for it. Take your time, get comfortable with it, and then make it happen. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and we look forward to seeing you at the next video or the next workshop. And also don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to see you really soon. Until then, take care, and we'll see you at the next one. Namaste.